the GOP race is on the move.
So it's now off to New Hampshire, a great place. We won it last time.
After Trump wins in Iowa. Chilling new details.
We look forward to a fair trial for the defendant and justice for Maureen.
About a serial killer case in New York. A frozen rescue.
The crew members got out, made contact, and quickly rushed them one by one through a safe passage.
How college students were saved from being trapped on a rock. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Sofia Bolivar.
I'm Valentina Gaspari. Today is Wednesday, January 17th, 2024.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
Sorrow at school this morning after a tragic mistake. Central Florida dealing with the aftermath of a school bus tragedy involving the death of a 9-year-old boy.
Around 4 o'clock yesterday,
it is absolutely devastating for this family that is here, but
run over by a bus after crawling under it. It's the same bus he was on moments prior. Investigators say he was the only one on the bus.
it is absolutely devastating for this family that is here, but also for our investigators that have to investigate this type of scene.
Orange County Public Schools promised its full cooperation in the investigation. The district released a statement saying it is saddened to hear about the tragic death of one of its students.
A crime connection this morning after detectives announced they're ready to tie an additional murder to the man they call the Gilgo Beach serial killer. CNN reporter Jen Sullivan takes inside the investigation.
The suspect known as the Gilgo Beach serial killer now faces a fourth murder charge. 60-year-old Rex Huerman was charged Tuesday with second-degree murder in connection to the death of Maureen Brainard Barnes.
My family will never get the chance to know who Maureen would be today, because her life was tragically taken.
Brainard Barnes was 25 when she was last seen in 2007, leaving behind 2 children.
While the loss of my mom has been extremely painful for me, the indictment by the grand jury has brought hope for justice for my mom and my family.
Brainard Barnes is one of 4 victims whose remains were found near Gilgo Beach in 2010. Their bodies found just days apart. The case went cold for nearly 15 years until police arrested Huerman in July, charging him with first-degree murder of the deaths of Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. But it wasn't until recently that investigators were able to link Huerman to Brainard Barnes' death, using DNA on a leather belt which was used to restrain her.
We look forward to a fair trial for the defendant and justice for Maureen.
After Huerman's arrest, his home, which he shared with his wife and 2 adult children, was searched. The backyard dug up as authorities looked for more evidence. His estranged wife says their family had no idea about what had happened.
This life that existed or may have existed, they were completely unaware of. She has no involvement in this and has never had any involvement in it.
In New York, I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
New Hampshire is now the main focus for the 3 major Republican presidential candidates. As CNN's Kristen Holmes reports, Trump, DeSantis, and Haley are now heavily campaigning in the Granite State 1 week before the first primary election of 2024.
So it's now off to New Hampshire, a great place. We won it last time.
Donald Trump back on the campaign trail in New Hampshire after a commanding performance in the Iowa caucuses, putting the former president one step closer to the Republican nomination and a potential rematch with President Joe Biden. Before heading to the Granite State, the GOP frontrunner making a detour to a New York courtroom as he balances his political and legal battles.
I go to a lot of courthouses because of Biden, because they're using that for election interference.
As the race moves to New Hampshire, Trump's campaign is paying close attention to Nikki Haley's rise in the polls. Despite a third-place finish in Iowa, Haley is making the argument the GOP primary is a 2-person contest between her and the former president. On the heels of his second-place showing in Iowa, Ron DeSantis hitting the campaign trail in Haley's home state of South Carolina before making his way to New Hampshire. The Florida governor criticizing Haley for refusing to accept an invitation to debate in New Hampshire before next week's primary.
They basically have her hermetically sealed because, she's got this problem with ballistic podiatry. country, shooting herself in the foot all the time.
But Haley insisting she's only interested in a debate with Trump.
That's who I'm running against. That's who I want. That's, at the end of the day, he's the front runner. He's the one that I'm 7 points away from. He's the one that we're fighting for. There is nobody else I need to debate.
ABC News canceled its Republican primary debate after Haley and Trump did not confirm their participation on time. Trump continues to show no indication of participating in any debate before the general election. Haley says she only wants to debate next with Trump or Biden.
Time is running out this morning with the government shutdown deadline just a couple of days away. Within Washington, D.C., congressional members are rushing to prevent the shutdown. For government agencies such as the military, construction, veteran affairs, and transportation, funding is set to expire on Friday. To prevent the shutdown, the House and the Senate are required to pass a funding extension and get it to the president's desk so he can sign it before the weekend.
4 college students are safe this morning following a daring rescue mission. As Caplin's Kenneth Bueno reports, they were trapped in snowy terrain near Lexington, Kentucky.
The sound of helicopter blades dominated the scene on Tuesday, where rescuers near Lexington, Kentucky were sent to Red River Gorge to save 4 university students in the midst of heavy snow. The students were on a camping trip on the prestigious rock when the winter conditions left them trapped on the gorge. The rescue happened in the wake of severe winter weather battering parts of the country over the last week. According to Jeremy Yerkew of Powell County Search and Rescue, temperatures in the single digits and heavy snow make efforts like this one much tougher.
See, anytime we have to hike in to rescue somebody, it's difficult, but when it's 15 degrees outside and it's snowing, it ups the ante a lot more. It almost never happens. Very rare.
All 4 of the students were successfully airlifted from the rock, saying that they did not expect the levels of snow from the forecast. They did not bring ropes with them to the campsite.
I don't say I totally fault anybody. Obviously, a level of preparedness matters when you go into the woods.
Meanwhile, 68 million Americans were under winter weather advisories due to the Arctic air breezing through the nation. For the following week, conditions are set to remain the same for areas including Milwaukee, Wisconsin, as city officials emphasize safety precautions.
And I'm asking everybody to step up. Touch base with your friends, touch base with your family members, touch base with your neighbors. Make sure that they're safe, make sure that they have heat.
Kenneth Bueno reporting for Caplin News.
A couple has mixed emotions this morning after the house was split in half by a 150-foot tree during a storm. Kaysen and Philip Wolcott were enjoying their lunch Saturday afternoon in their home near Portland, Oregon. They watched from their couch as a storm raged outside, and then things took a turn for the worse. The couple, along with their 2 dogs and cats, were just 5 feet from where the tree split their house in half, hoping it wouldn't kill them.
So we're watching the trees just kind of swaying, and all of a sudden, Philip starts yelling, "It's us, it's us, it's us," and he watched the tree like crack and shift and then start falling.
The tree also destroyed their car. Kaysen and Philip are living with family as they continue working with insurance on what's salvaging left of the house.
A crew of 4 foreign private astronauts prepared to launch from Florida to the International Space Station today. The SpaceX Dragon is set to lift off at 5 p.m. from the Kennedy Space Center. This is the 3rd ever mission with private astronauts, but the first with an all-European crew. The team will be conducting research on tech and microgravity.
Younger families are facing complications with a shortage of homes, inflation, and competition from the baby boomers. Yesterday, Redfin released an analysis showing that 28% of houses with 3 or more bedrooms are owned by boomers, while only 14% are owned by millennials with children. The analysis also states that boomers are reluctant to sell their large homes because they do not want to downsize. Most young families now cannot afford to buy a home, and mortgage rates are at a 23-year high.
Man's best friend has new friends of her own after a daring rescue.
That's the Lahed and Sosa story.
We've gotten a lot of feedback on social media about it, a lot of laughs.
A frosted mustache from the Dolphins-Chiefs playoff game is getting memorialized, kind of frosting. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign, not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
I help our fellows design their paths as creative entrepreneurs. My experiences serving startups, creative businesses, and cultural organizations, and my journey as a queer mixed immigrant with Haitian and Arabic roots, inform the co-creative environment we foster at Radcliffe. We leverage our collective diversity to encourage the building of lifelong personal learning networks and mindsets that stimulate continuous innovation.
There were many attempts at humor after Saturday's playoff loss, but this one takes the cake. It was not a great weekend for Miami football fans, as this past Saturday the Dolphins were eliminated in the playoffs playing the Kansas City Chiefs. However, there was a funny moment in the game that had to be captured.
It was the fourth coldest playoff game in history. So cold, in fact, that Kansas City Chief head coach Andy Reid's mustache froze up like an icicle. And now a bakery in Kansas City is memorializing this iconic look with a cake.
We've gotten a lot of feedback on social media about it, a lot of laughs. We've actually been talking about maybe some cookies or a cake with a cracked helmet on it. You never know what we're going to come up with here at McLean's.
McLean's Bakery is also accepting pre-orders for the mustache cake for this weekend's divisional round game against the Buffalo Bills.
A dog is lucky to be alive this morning after a miraculous rescue. Officials near Grand Rapids, Michigan rescued a dog named Hazel that fell in a lake yesterday. The black lab is recovering well after her owner was unsuccessful at getting her back on land. The fire department had to use ropes and special suits to save the day. You're watching Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depressing stuff. That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
You're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak today. I'm Valentina Gaspari.
I'm Sofia Bolivar. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.